Welcome back to the channel, tennis fans and sports lovers from around the world. Today's discussion is something truly special because we are looking at a moment that feels like a genuine shift in the landscape of professional tennis. Have you ever witnessed a sporting moment that makes you stop everything you're doing? The kind of moment where you lean forward in your seat and wonder if what you're seeing is actually real? Those rare lightning-in-a-bottle moments when an underdog, someone who has been grinding quietly for years, suddenly steps into the spotlight and shakes the entire hierarchy of a sport. That is exactly what is happening right now in women's tennis. Today we are diving into a story that has sent shockwaves across the Women's Tennis Association. A story that has fans talking, analysts debating, and social media exploding with reactions. The focus of it all? A 20-year-old Filipino rising star, Alexandra Eala. Over the past weeks of the 2026 season, Eala has delivered two of the most stunning and commanding performances of the year. She shocked world number 4 Coco Gauff and followed it up by defeating world number 6 Jasmine Paolini. Not with luck, not with a narrow escape, but with composure, power, and remarkable tactical intelligence. The victories didn't just surprise fans, they left seasoned veterans of the sport searching for words. To truly understand how significant this moment is, we need to step back and look at the reality of the WTA Tour. It is one of the most competitive environments in all of professional sports. Breaking into the top 30 is incredibly difficult. Defeating top 10 players consistently is even harder. The elite tier of women's tennis is guarded by Grand Slam champions, battle-tested veterans, and players who have spent years learning how to exploit even the smallest weakness in an opponent's game. When you step onto the court against a world number 4 or a world number 6, you are not just facing their current level. You are facing their experience, their reputation, their aura. And yet, Alexandra Eala, carrying the hopes of an entire nation, did not blink. She didn't hesitate. She didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped onto the baseline and delivered a masterclass in modern aggressive tennis that forced the entire sporting world to pay attention. The reaction has been massive. Highlights from her matches have flooded social media platforms. Analysts are breaking down her tactics point by point. Fans from around the world are sharing clips, debating her potential, and asking the same question again and again. Is this the arrival of the next big star in women's tennis? Because right now, the phrase "the whole world is watching" does not feel like an exaggeration at all. It feels like the beginning of something much bigger. The phrase "the whole world wondered" truly captured the collective gasp that echoed across the tennis landscape, from the grandstands of Dubai duty-free tennis championships to the sun-baked courts of BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells Tennis Garden, and even thousands of miles away in the streets of Manila. Fans who have followed Alexandra Eala since her junior days, when her immense promise first became clear, are now witnessing that young prodigy transform into a genuine giant slayer right before their eyes. But it is not only Filipino supporters celebrating this moment. Tennis purists, coaches, analysts, and casual viewers alike are all captivated by the rapid evolution of her game. What we are seeing is a player who has taken raw potential and molded it into a refined, dangerous arsenal. One capable of standing toe-to-toe with the most powerful hitters on the tour. Let's start with the first chapter of this incredible double breakthrough. At the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, Eala faced world number 6 Jasmine Paolini, a former champion in Dubai and one of the most consistent performers in the top tier of the Women's Tennis Association. Paolini is widely respected for her relentless court coverage and her ability to wear opponents down through long, grinding rallies. For a 20-year-old rising star to walk onto that stage, stare down a former champion, and dismantle her in the opening set with a stunning 6-1 scoreline was nothing short of extraordinary. Eala played with fearless aggression, constantly rushing the Italian veteran and dictating the tempo of the match. When Paolini inevitably pushed back in the second set, saving match points and forcing a tense tiebreak, the young Filipina showed remarkable composure beyond her years, eventually closing out the match 7-6. It was a statement victory. Her third career win over a top 10 player, and a clear signal to the locker room that Alexandra Eala was no longer just a promising prospect. She was becoming an immediate and serious threat. But if the tennis world believed that victory over Paolini represented the peak of Eala's early 2026 campaign, they were about to be proven very wrong. The story quickly shifted to the California desert and the iconic BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells, often called the fifth Grand Slam. The conditions there are demanding: thin desert air, gritty courts, and an atmosphere of immense pressure. And it was here that Eala faced an even more intimidating challenge. Across the net stood world number 4, two-time Grand Slam champion, and American superstar Coco Gauff. The matchup carried extra drama because just weeks earlier, Gauff had defeated Eala convincingly in Dubai. Most analysts expected the same outcome again. Pundits predicted that Gauff's explosive athleticism and heavy baseline game would overwhelm the young Filipina once more. But sport has a way of defying predictions. When the two players stepped onto Stadium 1 at Indian Wells, the entire dynamic felt different. Eala had clearly studied their previous encounter and arrived with a completely redesigned tactical plan. She began reading Gauff's serve with remarkable precision. She engaged in relentless cross-court exchanges, patiently constructing points before suddenly mixing in perfectly disguised drop shots that repeatedly pulled the lightning-fast American out of position. After falling behind early, Eala surged back with authority, breaking Gauff multiple times to claim the first set 6-2. Then the momentum kept building. She raced to a 2-0 lead in the second set, fully controlling the rhythm of the match and dictating play from the baseline. And just when it seemed the upset was unfolding exactly as scripted, the unthinkable happened. Coco Gauff, visibly struggling and having already taken a medical timeout earlier in the match, was ultimately forced to retire due to a severe injury in her left arm. It was a difficult moment for everyone watching. In situations like this, it is important to balance empathy with honesty. Winning a match through a mid-match retirement is never how a true competitor wants to secure victory. It leaves a bittersweet feeling, and the health of the athletes must always come first. Gauff later described the pain in her arm as feeling like a firework going off. That kind of sensation is genuinely frightening, and it completely justified her decision to prioritize long-term health over finishing a single match. However, we also have to be clear about what was happening on the court before that unfortunate retirement. Alexandra Eala was fundamentally outplaying the world number 4. She was in complete control of the match. Observers at the BNP Paribas Open and analysts following the Women's Tennis Association noted that Eala had commanded the contest from the very first ball. She wasn't simply holding her own against one of the sport's biggest stars. She was executing a brilliant, proactive game plan that was systematically breaking down one of the most explosive players in the game. And that brings us to the real reason why this moment has become so significant. It's not just the result. It's how Eala carried herself during and after the match. The contest took place on International Women's Day, and after the abrupt end to the match, Eala did not celebrate wildly. Instead, she showed remarkable sportsmanship, grace, and empathy. During her on-court interview, she delivered a heartfelt tribute to the women who paved the way in sports. She specifically praised Coco Gauff, calling her an incredible competitor and a role model, and wished her friend and former doubles partner a speedy recovery. At the same time, she acknowledged the complicated nature of the victory while recognizing the milestone she had just achieved for herself and for her country. That moment revealed something powerful about Alexandra Eala. The combination of fierce competitiveness and genuine empathy is rare, especially for a 20-year-old athlete standing under the intense spotlight of global attention. It is one of the reasons she is rapidly becoming one of the most admired figures on the WTA Tour. So, what does all of this mean for the future of women's tennis? It means the landscape is beginning to shift. It means the gap between the established elite and the rising generation of hungry young players is closing faster than many people expected. And it means the Philippines now has a legitimate contender capable of competing with the giants of the sport on the biggest stages. Eala is evolving into a player with the technical skill to hit through the court, the tactical intelligence to adapt against different opponents, and the emotional maturity to handle the enormous pressure of global attention. Her victories over Jasmine Paolini and Coco Gauff are not flukes. They are announcements. They are declarations that Alexandra Eala has arrived, and that she intends to challenge the status quo of women's tennis. The deep dive begins to truly appreciate the magnitude of Eala's recent triumphs over Jasmine Paolini and Coco Gauff. We cannot simply look at the scorelines. We have to break down the matches themselves, the tactics, the adjustments, and the mental strength required to execute those plans under immense pressure. Let's start in the Middle East at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships. When Eala stepped onto the court in Dubai in February 2026, she faced a daunting challenge. Across the net stood Jasmine Paolini, the world number 6. For those who closely follow the tour, Paolini is one of the most difficult opponents to face. She may not be the tallest player on tour, but her movement is exceptional. Her footwork is among the best in the sport, and she generates tremendous racket head speed that produces heavy topspin shots capable of wearing opponents down over long rallies. Matches against Paolini often become physical wars of attrition. She was also a former champion in Dubai, meaning she was playing in conditions she knew and loved. The storyline heading into the match was simple: youth versus experience. Could the 20-year-old Eala penetrate Paolini's elite defensive game? The answer came quickly and emphatically. Tactical aggression from the very first game, Eala came out swinging with controlled aggression that completely caught the Italian off guard. Her forehand, already known as one of the most dangerous shots in her arsenal, was firing with precision. But what made it so effective wasn't just the power. It was the placement. Eala repeatedly found sharp angles that dragged Paolini wide off the court, preventing the Italian from dictating the rallies. The result was a stunning 6-1 first set, completed in just 24 minutes. Against a top 10 player, that level of dominance is extremely rare. Eala struck multiple clean winners and served with remarkable efficiency, winning more than 70% of her first serve points. For an entire set, she completely disrupted Paolini's rhythm. But champions are defined by how they respond under pressure. And Paolini was never going to go quietly. The tiebreak tension in the crowd was palpable. Alexandra Eala had to mentally reset after losing her advantage, and this is where the cultural context truly matters. Dubai is home to a massive Filipino expat community. During her post-match press conference, Eala reflected on seeing the sea of her countrymen in the stands, knowing how many were rooting and even praying for her victory. She transformed that immense pressure into fuel, rallying to hit a spectacular forehand winner on her 5th match point, sealing a 6-1, 7-6 victory. This win marked Eala's 3rd career top 10 triumph, improving her record against elite opponents to an impressive 3-2. Remarkably, all 3 of these wins, over Madison Keys, Iga Swiatek, and Jasmine Paolini, came in straight sets, proving that when Eala is at her peak, she's virtually unstoppable, even against the world's best. If the Dubai victory announced her arrival, her performance against Coco Gauff at Indian Wells was a masterclass in adaptation and tactical intelligence. Weeks earlier in Dubai, Gauff had dismantled Eala 6-0, 6-2, establishing herself as a clear favorite. Gauff, world number 4, is an athletic phenom, her court coverage legendary, her backhand lethal, and her serve nearly untouchable when on form. When the 3rd round matchup was set, the tennis world expected a repeat dominance. But Eala and her coaching team went back to the drawing board. They crafted a precise counter-strategy, focusing on exploiting Gauff's vulnerable second serve, a weakness she had struggled with in 2026. From the very first game, Eala stepped inside the baseline on returns, taking the ball early, applying relentless pressure and forcing errors. Gauff ended up hitting 7 double faults in the first set alone. Eala mixed pace, geometry, and angles, using perfectly disguised drop shots, deep lobs, and precise passing shots to completely disrupt Gauff's rhythm. She stormed back from a 0-40 deficit in the 6th game to break Gauff, took a commanding 4-2 lead, and closed out the set 6-2. Early in the second, Eala went up 2-0, breaking Gauff again with a stunning forehand winner before the unfortunate injury brought the match to an abrupt end. Gauff, suffering a severe nerve-related issue in her left arm, described the pain as like a firework going off and retired. It's essential to acknowledge the reality. The match ended due to injury. But before that, Eala was arguably playing the best tennis of her life, systematically picking apart the world number 4. Even Gauff herself, in an incredible display of class, praised Eala's performance, noting she didn't want to diminish the young Filipina's brilliance. The aftermath revealed much more than athletic skill. On Stadium 1, one of the most intimidating arenas, Eala displayed poise and character. The match fell on International Women's Day, and she used her platform not to boast but to express gratitude to the trailblazing women who paved the way and directly to Gauff, wishing her a speedy recovery and acknowledging her as a role model. This level of emotional maturity is rare for a 20-year-old under global scrutiny and resonated deeply with fans worldwide. Eala is not just a fierce competitor, she's a deeply empathetic athlete who understands the broader significance of her platform. Breaking new ground, Eala is making history. She is the first player from the Philippines to contest the main draw at Indian Wells, and now the first to reach the round of 16. Her game is evolving, more versatile serves, a devastating forehand, improved net transitions, but most importantly, her mental blueprint is that of a champion. She can take a heavy loss, learn, adapt, and come back weeks later to dominate the same opponent. She thrives under pressure, against partisan crowds, and in high-stakes moments. As she prepares to face formidable opponents like the powerful Linda Noskova, the tennis world will be watching. Alexandra Eala is no longer the underdog hoping for a lucky break. She's a proven giant slayer, a tactical force, and a player with the mindset to challenge for the biggest titles in the sport. The whole world wondered how she did it. Now the world knows exactly who Alexandra Eala is. Looking ahead, the 2026 WTA season is shaping up to be one of the most thrilling and unpredictable in recent memory, and at the center of it all is this 20-year-old from the Philippines. We've dissected the tactics, analyzed the statistics, and examined the emotional resilience that carried her through Dubai and Indian Wells. Eala thrives in pressure cooker moments, dominates when it counts, and inspires a generation. Now it's over to you, viewers. How far do you realistically think Alexandra Eala can go this season? Are we looking at a future Grand Slam semi-finalist by year-end? How will she match up against heavy hitters like Sabalenka or Rybakina? Should we dive into her tactical matchup against Noskova, or explore the history of Asian players at Indian Wells? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown of the biggest stories in tennis. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next deep dive.